The other semi-final, the crowd is bigger here, as you can see. Both stands are full, and indeed they have been full for a long time. I think the crowd anticipating a good minor match, and we're in very early here as we see the Kerry team lining up for their photographs down at the centre of the pitch. Both stands, as I said, are full. A big crowd behind the Canal goal, and Hill 16, which is normally reserved for the Dubs, well, I can tell you there's a fair good crowd there on the hill, as you can see for yourself as well. The weather is absolutely beautiful in Dublin today and perfect for this game, and so then it couldn't be better, Endacollar. Looking forward to this senior match.
There's a fantastic atmosphere, and I think that a great game is in store for us. I think it will be interesting to see the tactics of both sides. I feel that Meath will adapt tactics a bit like Galway hurlers, in the sense that they will play just two men in their full forward line, and I figure that they'll have Martin O'Connell out in their half forward line, let's say between centre half forward and midfield, to try and cover up midfield as well, and to stop the Kerry half-backs from breaking. So it's going to be very interesting to see the tactics that they adopt here. Kerry, we know they are Kerry, and they can play to all kinds of tactics and that. But I think that if Meath are to beat Kerry today, they will have to be twice as good as them, because this Kerry team, they have such understanding, such teamwork built over the years, and also their will to win at this stage is very, very good. So that were Meath to win this game, they certainly will have to work hard, and they'll have to be well on top of Kerry.
Of course, Meath are a much younger team, and particularly in the forward line than their Kerry opponents. But it's too simple, I think, at the same time, Brian Mullins, to say that this Kerry team is getting old. I mean, it's old, relatively old, if you like, but still, they're not old men or anything like that.
Well, a lot of them give me food for thought anyway, or food for hope, as the man might say. Yeah, as Enda says, understanding and being able to play together is very, very important at this level, especially to do it when you go out in front of a big crowd, when the pressure is on. That's the time you got to produce it. And today, Meath have to produce it. There's been a lot of talk about certain players on their team always being very good, but never getting the opportunity to win in All-Ireland because they weren't winning in Leinster. Today is the day they have to do it. Liam Hayes is going to have to play a brilliant game today. There's been a lot of talk about him, and today is the day that he's going to have to do it. And as I say, Kerry have done it in this situation before. Today is the day for me to do it. I think I would go for Kerry today, because their forwards, to me, in general, are stronger than the Meath forwards. I think Mikey Sheehy is back to playing a bit like his best. He wasn't that great over the last 2 years. Owen Liston, Pat Spillane, John Kennedy is playing very well, and as opposed to the Meath forward line, I think they've got more shots in their armour than the Meath forward line have. So on that basis, I would go for Kerry. I think the Meath backs will do well, but I think that Meath have a hope. But it's only if Liam Hayes plays very, very well in the middle of the field, and if their Meath half forward line is going to be up against Tom Doyle, Tom Spillane and Gerald Lynch, the three who are playing very well for them. So that would be my view of the situation today.
Well, I think myself, Brian, that it's going to be one way or another an absolutely fascinating semi-finalist, one that I am certainly looking forward to, as I know the two men here beside me are, and I know somebody else who's looking forward to it as well, and that's our match commentator, Ger Canning.
Having scaled one mountain to beat Dublin already, Meath must now attempt to peak Everest itself if they hope to beat Kerry. This is the Meath team for the afternoon. The Meath selectors making just the minimum number of changes. PJ Gillick, their young teenage forward, making way for Martin O'Connell, who wasn't quite 100% fit before the Leinster final. Surprisingly, he selected at full forward, a position he's never filled before. But surprises are nothing new for Meath. Captain Joe Castles was picked at right back against Dublin, but he played everywhere else except right back. Liam Hayes is fit after injury, and Brian Stafford has the task of making an impression against Tom Spillane at centre forward. Kerry, the champions, with the staggering total of 76 All-Ireland medals between them, making just one adjustment to their team following a less than impressive Munster final. Ogie Moran is given the number 11 shirt, where he's been a constant success in all of Kerry's triumphs, and it's Timmy Dowd who steps down to the subs. Ogie is one of 5 players bidding for a record 8th All-Ireland medal this year, the others being Pádraig O'Shea, Pat Spillane, Mikey Sheehy and Ger Parr. Kerry in royal blue for the afternoon, wearing the Munster colours because of a colour clash, and Meath, as you've seen, are in the Leinster colours green. There's Ogie Moran taking his place in the parade, and so the teams parading around Croke Park, a park that's in very good condition incidentally, and there's plenty of support here. Well, are they Meath supporters or are they Kerry supporters? It's green and gold no matter what. I think they're probably Meath supporters, because they'll tell you in the Kingdom that they usually keep the long journey up to Dublin for the final itself. Still have a sneaking fancy that there are plenty of Kerry people down at the races in Tralee this afternoon, and I'm sure they're looking in on the box to see how the footballers are doing. Meath captain Joe Castles, the number 2. Something of a lucky charm indeed for Meath, having captained them successfully in the Centenary Cup, and then he won a county championship medal with his club Navan O'Mahony's, and of course he captained them this year to win the Leinster Championship itself. Colm O'Rourke there with the left knee bandaged. Fine crowd, as we were saying earlier, probably up to around 40,000 I would estimate. We don't have official crowd figures. Tommy Doyle, the team captain, the first man from Annascaul to captain Kerry since the great Paddy Kennedy in 1946. Ger Lynch, the number 7, Jack O'Shea just behind him. A lot expected, of course, as always, from the great Jack O'Shea. Pat Spillane here, bandaged left knee. There was a slight worry about Pat's form coming into this match because, of course, he had to limp off injured in the Munster final 7 weeks ago. This great Kerry team, of course, only beaten on 4 occasions in the championship in the last 12 years. Twice by Dublin in the 1976 final, and then that epic 1977 semi-final, and twice by last-minute scores against Offaly in the 82 final, and of course against Cork in the following year's Munster final. Indeed, but for those 2 famous late goals, this Kerry team today could, or rather this year, could be going for an amazing 9 All-Irelands in a row. It's a formidable challenge, of course, to be met by Meath, who recently bridged a 16-year gap by winning the Leinster title. So it's a team with Leinster, but no All-Ireland senior medals between them. The atmosphere is terrific. Meath have won the toss, and they've elected to play against the breeze in the first half, as Colm Coyle heads back for the right half-back position. Meath will be playing from left to right in the first half. There's a slight breeze. It didn't seem all that terribly influential in the minor match beforehand. And in case you've joined us late, that minor match was won by Cork. The referee is Michael Greenan, a local government official from Cavan Town. He's refereed the Ulster final this year, but today the high point of his career in a refereeing career that spans 16 years. So the hush of the crowd, everyone stands to face the tricolour. Agus anish Shahagwev Auron Navian. One of the biggest crowds of the year so far for a championship football match. The expectation of a game to remember, let's hope so. So many questions to be answered. One wonders just what is the latest Kerry form. 7 weeks since they played in the Munster final. Meath with Jerry McEntee and Liam Hayes in green. There's the throw-in. The match underway, and it's Kerry's 12th All-Ireland semi-final since 1975. Straight away they've a free, and in that time they've won 9 matches, drawn 1 and lost just 1. Terry Ferguson taking that ball. First season in the Meath senior football colours, although he's been 5 years on the hurling team. Bernard Flynn didn't have a very good Leinster final. Tom Spillane finding his brother Pat. Already he started to move from his left half forward position. Ger Lynch What a good run this is. Bad ball, however, easily cut out by Joe Castles. I wonder where he's going to play. What a bad pass, Ogie Moran. It's the opening score, and it's come after 50 seconds. As a result of a defensive error, it must be said. When Meath seemed to be clearing the danger, that ball somehow went astray. Mickey McQuillan here, who's the Meath goalkeeper, hardly had a save to make in the Leinster final. David Beggy trying to pick out and indeed succeeding in finding Colm O'Rourke. The sides are level. What a great start this is to the match. Yes, it's the Kingdom against the Royal County, bidding for a place in the final in 4 weeks' time. And who will reign supreme? Ambrose O'Donovan. Here's John Kennedy, the scorer of 4 very good points for Kerry in the Munster final in the first half. Pat Spillane looks very sharp. There's Ambrose O'Donovan trying to lay a penetrating ball in towards Ogie Moran. Mick Lyons, a very strong fullback. Already it's hotting up down there. It's curious, by the way, that after 3 minutes play and when you'd expect things to be settling down, Martin O'Connell from Meath is still playing at full forward. And it's Mick Lyons who's been given the task of marking Owen Liston. What a great catch that was. We haven't seen too many good catches in Championship football this year, but Liam Hayes playing it in towards Colm O'Rourke. Sean Welsh in some difficulty. Referee's whistle had gone in any case for a push on Sean Welsh. It's Paudie O'Shea who'll take the free, looking very trim and very fit looking. Two Meath players going for the one ball. Unfortunately for them, it breaks down to Colm Coyle. Good jinking run from Coyle, looking for the second score. He's put it wide, however. And Coyle, you saw there, looking around to see who he should be marking. And it's difficult at times to keep your eye on Pat Spillane because he moves just about everywhere. Again, Liam Hayes and Jerry McEntee fumbling that one. Jack O'Shea taking it away and receiving the return from Pat Spillane. This should be Kerry's second score. Jack O'Shea's put it wide. So it's a wide apiece and a point apiece in the All-Ireland football semi-final at Croke Park. 4 minutes gone. And it was O'Shea who started it. Got the return pass there from Pat Spillane. Got himself into a very good scoring position. Liam Harnan put in a late challenge, but the shot goes wide. Back in the middle of the field, Jerry McEntee lining up this free for Meath. Colm O'Rourke very much the danger man where Meath are concerned. Finian Murtagh is dragged to the ground. That's a free in for Meath. And from that range, it will be Liam Hayes who'll take the frees, a little bit closer in, and you'd expect Finian Murtagh to be taking them. It's going to be interesting to see just how Meath can expose any lack of fitness in the Kerry team. Kerry with the average age of 29, Meath an average age of 23. He kicks it truly, and Meath take the lead. Liam Hayes, who picked up an injury in a challenge match against Cavan, and there was a degree of concern about his availability for this match because of that injury. Ambrose O'Donovan is marking Liam Hayes. Jerry McEntee is running with Jack O'Shea. That's the tactic. Terry Ferguson, son of the great Des or Snitchy Ferguson, seemed to be edged out over the sideline that time. The linesman was giving it as Kerry ball, but I think there was a push. So Porrick Lions will take the free. Beautifully taken. It's Jerry McEntee picking out Bernard Flynn, moving out from his left corner forward position. And he's put it wide, Meath's second wide. Bernard Flynn is quite a good young player. In a recent under-21 match here in Leinster, he scored all his counties total against Offaly. That was a goal and 11 points, and still figured on the losing team in the end. Midfield is quite a battleground. Jerry McEntee's poor clearance, Ambrose O'Donovan towards Owen, the bomber Liston. The transfer in for John Kennedy. 3 men on him. There's a loose man outside him, and that's Mikey Sheehy. Oh, it should have been the lead goal. So near to being the match's first goal. Everything was right about the movement. John Kennedy did a lot of the spade work, invited the challenges. Mikey Sheehy played it on. The goalkeeper advanced, cut down the angle sufficiently, and Sheehy put it outside. That's Milan. Kerry trying to rediscover the great style of champions that they've shown us down the years. That was punched away by Jerry McEntee. Bernard Flynn giving Paul O'Shea a busy time. The referee saw an unfair challenge. Quick free taken. Brian Stafford. Charlie Nelligan comes and collects. Tommy Doyle, the Kerry captain. And there's a nice understanding at the back. Ger Power, the oldest man on the field at 34. Ambrose O'Donovan. Bad ball from O'Donovan. It's come again to Brian Stafford. Tommy Doyle takes it chest high. Tom Spillane, the star of the Munster final. Both defences so far soaking up the pressure quite comfortably. Here's Colm O'Rourke, and whenever he gets possession it spells danger. He was clearly being impeded. He would have liked an advantage from which he might have scored, but I think the Kerry backs had stopped in any case, and it will be a free. Michael Greenan, the referee from Cavan, who was on the line for last year's All-Ireland final, Kerry v Dublin. So far the pace of the game really very fast, but over 70 minutes you wonder if they can sustain this kind of effort. Two very well-trained teams. Well, the last ball from this distance, Liam Hayes pointed. This one looks every bit as good, and Meath go into a 2-point lead. 3 points to 1 they lead. 2 frees coming from the right boot of Liam Hayes. Liam Hayes, who was a minor here 6 years ago, and in the All-Ireland football semi-final played against Kerry, and they were on the losing side that day, hoping for a change of fortune in 1986. Terry Ferguson was coming to collect so quickly, making it his. Meath looking very hungry for victory. As Tommy Doyle wins the free. And seems to have received a knock on the face, and I think he may have caught somebody's boot, possibly Colm O'Rourke, in a totally accidental clash. If we just take a look at this in replay again, There's Colm O'Rourke, and I think he just caught Tommy Doyle, nipped him on the forehead. So it'll require a stitch or two, I should think. Tommy Doyle, of course, who's hoping this year to bring the cup back to his hometown, Annascaul. Player who this year will be hoping to win his 6th All-Ireland medal. He's 30 years of age. The stretcher is ready to remove him from the game, but it didn't really seem all that terribly serious. And I would have thought that with a couple of stitches he might well have been able to retake his place in the team. Nico Dwyer is in there, the green jumper. And to lose his captain would be a very big loss. It's been said many times that Kerry do not have the strength and depth that they really require. Tommy Doyle, a very popular player, known among his colleagues by his nickname Private, following days of army service some years ago. Well, the stretcher is gone. There's Dermot Hanifin, one of the 6 Kerry subs. Willie Marr there as well. They've togged out a good few more, but there are only 6, of course, that can be nominated and can take part in the game. And Tommy Doyle, thankfully, is back in the action. So Paulie O'Shea, who tells me that he's shed something like 1.5 stones since the Munster final, taking this free. The linesman gives it as a Kerry ball. Today's meeting of these counties, of course, is the 5th time they'll have met in the championship. The score so far: Kerry 3 wins, Meath 1. That one victory being the 1954 final. Colm Coyle lofting it up towards another Colm O'Rourke. Mick Spillane has the duty of marking him. And the referee gives it as a push and a free to Meath. Looking for Ger Parr, who was well covered by Joe Castles. Pat Spillane. A lot of the kicks clear out of danger by Meath. They're going astray and going straight to Kerry players. Meath leading at the moment, 3 points to 1. Terry Ferguson following this man John Kennedy just about everywhere. Mikey Sheehy trying to link up with Ger Parr. Owen Liston will go for a point and gets it. Well, it's been a long time. 13 minutes indeed since Kerry has scored. But that's the position now as we head up towards the end of the first quarter. With difficulty, Meath hold possession. Jerry McEntee, who's supplying a good deal of ball in towards Colm O'Rourke, tripped from behind by Ger Lynch. The referee says that's the way it'll go, free into Meath. Finian Murtagh wants to take it awfully quickly, and the referee is whistling it up. Well, Meath seemed to want to take it quickly. They did so. They lost the advantage, but the referee clearly thought there were players far too near the ball. This time it'll be Bernard Flynn to try his luck. A gentle breeze blowing into his face. And he kicks it over the bar. So Meath lead by 2 once again. Terry Ferguson, Pat Spillane, back on the half-back line. Mikey Sheehy, who started to wander a bit now, leaving just 2 men up front, the bomber and Ger Power. And in the last 5 to 7 minutes, we've had a lot of frees. The flow of play being interrupted. Liam Harnan to take the free. Towards Colm O'Rourke, outnumbered and outcaught. This is Sean Welch. Towards Jack O'Shea. Jerry McEntee, his marker, bringing him right down to the ground. Brian Stafford wandering back into his own defence, and Kerry take advantage. Ogie Moran laying it in towards Ger Power, just needs a touch. It's still there for the taking. Yes, he couldn't miss. Minutes of the first half gone. Kerry take the lead, and once again a dreadful mix-up in the Meath defence. When this high ball came in, Power, 3-1 outnumbered, still managed to get a touch somehow. Got the rebound, he was the one that was most alert, and he finished clinically. So, from just behind the goal, it's worth looking at this. 3-1 he was outnumbered, but he was the sharpest of the finish. And a player lying down injured. A player, maybe I should say 3 players lying down injured. The one player who came out of it in one piece, having scored the goal, is Ger Power. He scored in the semi-final last year as well against Monaghan. He makes a bit of a habit of it. Mick Lyons, Joe Castles and the goalkeeper, all very strong players, it should be said. Just take a look at the defence this time. This was a lovely punt forward, an inviting kick. The 3 defenders, eyes on the ball, and they collided between them. And from that position, Ger Power couldn't miss. So, Joe Castles looking a little bit weary and a little bit shaken. Back on his feet, however. Their 31-year-old captain. And Jerry McEntee, the number 9 in there, who's a surgeon, just making sure that the goalkeeper, Mickey McQuillan, is okay. Sean Boylan's in the background there as well. That's a real body blow, that goal. And the feature of the game, of course, the number of knees bandaged. Here's Pat Spillane. He had that well-documented injury some time ago and had a serious operation to save his footballing career. And what a great comeback he's made. Does his best to save himself as much as possible during the winter months. Mickey McQuillan with a right-looking red nose. So he'll have a couple of black eyes as well in the morning, but for the moment at least, ready to take his place and back with the action. The score, Kerry 1-2. That's 5 points, Meath 4. So a hold-up of 3 minutes in all. And another man who was in the wars earlier on in this match. Liston flicking it on, but Ger Power wasn't sharp enough to it. Joe Castle's also wearing a bandage over the forehead. Martin O'Connell didn't really commit himself for it. Here's Pat Spillane, one of the great players of Gaelic football. Martin O'Connell for once going back with Pat Spillane. Finian Murtagh trying to drive it through towards his colleagues. Ger Power. This really is becoming a dreadful game of pulling and dragging. Players arguing as to what is and what isn't a fair challenge. And Liam Harnan, the one who is spoken to, and he becomes the first player to be booked in the game. Watch this once again. Ger Lynch trying to take possession, Pat Spillane, it's booted clear. And then when it went to Ger Parr, no attempt made to rob him cleanly, and Harnan came out with that dangerous shoulder. There are times when one has to say to oneself, the game is showing up the fact that there isn't a real tackle in Gaelic football. Owen Liston protesting that it went off a Meath player. Certainly the fast-flowing game of the opening 10 minutes has turned around completely. It's a series of stoppages, frees, fouls, little or no fluency whatsoever. And the referee again holds up play, going in to have a word with one of his umpires just to check what's been happening behind his back. And it's Owen Liston. Who's been, no, not Owen Liston, but Mick Lyons. So the big number 3 becomes the second Meath defender to have his name taken. So let's just hope this will improve. Owen Liston unable to catch cleanly. Colin Coyle. Meath in their eagerness in defence on occasions have 3 players going for the one ball. And of course that's precisely what happened when the goal came after 17 minutes. Sean Welch easily taking that. Starting in this match much better than in the Munster final. He was one of the 8 players called in by Mick O'Dwyer before training proper started to get really into shape. Joe Castle's taken down. And yet another stop. Meath protesting that Owen Liston should have been booked for that. The referee really is going to have to get a very firm grip on this. Just watch it once again. Castles did seem to come down awkwardly, but there was a nudge as well from behind. But there was no booking that time. Jerry McEntee taking the free. Paddy O'Shea taking it out of defence. Liam Harnan covering off. One of 6 Meath players in Kevin Heffernan's panel of 38 for the Australian tour in October. This time the referee signalling that it's a Kerry free, and he penalises Meath 10 metres because Bernard Flynn didn't get back quickly enough. Ten minutes to go to half-time. 2 Meath players again converging and again going for the one ball. Certainly in the last 10 minutes we've hardly had continuity of play for more than about 30 seconds, 20 seconds on occasions. Pat Spillane well and truly beaten in the air by a very determined Colm O'Rourke. Free into Meath. Colm O'Rourke, one of the game's top forwards. That's the 45-metre line, and of course it's Liam Hayes who will take it. Surveying the scene, taking his time about it. If he puts it between the posts, the sides will be level. he's put it well to the left. That's Meath's third wide. Kerry likewise with the same tally. Kerry ahead in a match that has been riddled with frees so far, leading by a point. That's the position. 26 minutes of the first half gone. Coyle again driving it towards the forwards. This is Brian Stafford. A dangerous ball taken well by Charlie Nelligan. Colm O'Rourke, it's significant that he's the only one up front making any kind of an impression. Not allowing the Kerry man to take the ball out, so the referee signals the free. But it must be said that so far Martin O'Connell, the man they've selected at full forward, has got very little of the play. A determined move forward by Kerry. Jack O'Shea outside him is Owen Liston, but he's robbed. This is Martin O'Connell. Colm Coyle. David Beggy attempting to make something of it. That was Ambrose O'Donovan hammering it out. Goes off a Meath man, that's a Kerry ball. Jerry McEntee's given Jack O'Shea very little of the play in the last 10 minutes. Colm O'Rourke, what a beautiful fetch. Can he finish with a point? Maybe Bernard Flynn can. Saved by Charlie Nelligan. One of the better moves from Meath's point of view so far. Terry Ferguson keeping his eye on it, but under intense pressure. He's been a real discovery by Sean Boylan this season, Terry Ferguson. Indeed, it's a very youthful half-back line that Meath have today. Colm Coyle's only 23, and the other two, Liam Harnan and Terry Ferguson, they're each 25. Colm O'Rourke, the top forward on view, without a shadow of a doubt. But this time, pulled down by the Kerry defence, free in. Tom Spillane was ready to take a free out. Certainly the thousands of fans who've come here in expectation of a classic, they've been disappointed so far. It's been all stop-start, stop-start. Bernard Flynn's kick, and it's the equaliser. Charlie Nelligan disagrees, but the point counts. That's Bernard Flynn's second point. So the Meath followers having something to cheer about, hoping to get back into the All-Ireland final for the first time in 16 years. Kerry, of course, provided the opposition in that final in 1970. Sean Welsh, Tommy Doyle doing a good bit of covering off for him. Owen Liston's the target man. Ger Power making it awkward for the backs. Ger Lynch, his immediate opponent, was slipping. Here's Tom Spillane trying to rifle over a point, but he's put it about 10 metres to the left and wide. Great young footballer from Temple No, Tom Spillane, having a very, very good year. Mickey McQuillan here, looking the worst for wear. Made his debut, incidentally, in 1978, then departed the inter-county scene for a number of years. Colm Coyle, playing very well at right half-back. Finian Murtagh. It's total commitment from the two teams. Bernard Flynn, as the game picks up, and Meath have retaken the lead. Bernard Flynn beginning to show us just what he can do. The young 20-year-old giving his side the lead. 3 minutes to go to the half-time whistle, but I'm sure the referee will add on some time for the injuries we've had. And Kerry have brought on a sub. Willie Marr has come on, and John Kennedy is the one who's departed the scene. So they're switching around. That's Willie Marr going in on Joe Castles. The initiative now fairly well and truly being taken by Meath. Colm O'Rourke breaking it down to Martin O'Connell, a player who can take his score. He's got that one. He's seen very little of the action so far, but that's a lovely point. This is precisely what the game has required. So now it's going to be interesting to see just how Kerry meet this challenge. Colm Coyle towards Bernard Flynn. Paddy O'Shea is his marker. Ogie Moran. And Ogie is fouled, the man who got the first point of this game. Kerry indeed have only had 3 scores in the match so far. The 2 points from Ogie Moran and Owen Liston, and that goal after 70 minutes by Ger Parr. Meath roared on by thousands upon thousands of Meath supporters who've made the relatively short journey here to Croke Park. Kerry without very much support, it must be said. Jerry McEntee. A good deep kick aimed at Colm O'Rourke. Mick Spillane's in there for Kerry. And his progress held up. Illegally, says referee Michael Greenan. Willie Marr. First touch for him. Can he make a difference? Because Kerry have been looking very, very sluggish. Their play has been patchy. David Beggy. It was intended for Colm Coyle, cut out by Tom Spillane to his partner Ger Lynch, swung around that time by Finian Murtagh. And Finian Murtagh having a word or two with Ger Lynch there. Kerry really struggling to get going in attack against a defence, a no-nonsense defence. Owen Liston. Well, he's pointed from this angle a few times before. He's done it again. That's an inspiring kick by the big Bale man. So, just a point between the teams again, 7-6. Spillane waiting for it. Meath challenging very hard, trying to upset, and so far succeeding in upsetting the Kerry rhythm. But just a point between the teams. Ger Parr thought about a pass outside to Tommy Doyle. Here's Mikey Sheehy back to Ger Parr. Can the old firm engineer a score? Tommy Doyle, he's put them level. rousing his colleagues. The Kerry captain leading by example and getting the equaliser. That's come a minute into injury time. So delicately balanced then is this game. It should make, and we hope it does, make for a memorable next 35 minutes. The stakes are great, of course. The issue, a place in next month's All-Ireland final against the team of the moment, Tyrone. Ger Parr, he'd love nothing better than to give his side a 1-point lead before half-time. The big talking point of the half, I suppose, will be the confusion in the Meath defence that led to that goal by Ger Parr, plus the scrappy nature of the play. Jerry McEntee, he's had a very good opening 35 minutes. Colm Coyle likewise. Outnumbered in defence. Sean Welsh, his appetite for the game is evident again. Jack O'Shea. Some people, of course, believe that it's easier for Meath when they face a Kerry team wearing all blue, the Munster colours, rather than the usual green and gold. Mikey Sheehy free. For all the fouling that we've had in the middle of the field, very few of the frees have been near to goal. That's a lovely point, and Kerry have taken a 1-point lead. The boot of Mikey Sheehy getting his own first score of the game. So it really is the old cliche, it's anyone's game. The referee has now played 3 minutes of injury time. That would correspond roughly to the injuries after the goal, but there was also an injury, of course, to Tommy Doyle. But it's very much at the discretion of this man, Michael Greenan. Willie Marr. Mikey Sheehy kicking, and another point. In a twinkle, Kerry go into a 2-point lead. Given half a chance, this man can turn it to a score. And suddenly the Meath concentration falling down a bit. And the referee blows for half-time. A first half that was more mundane than memorable, brought to life by a goal after 17 minutes by Ger Parr. Kerry finishing much stronger thanks to late points by Mikey Sheehy, and the half-time position, Kerry won 6, Meath 7 points. We'll be back with the action from the All-Ireland football semi-final very shortly. Don't go away, we'll be right back.
To Croke Park, and an absorbing first half here. Kerry leading Meath by 2 points at half-time. Much to talk about, much for the crowd here to debate about while they're waiting for the teams to come back out onto the pitch, and we debate about it too, Enda Colleran.
That's true. I think I said before the game that Meath would have to be twice as good as Kerry to beat them, because Kerry can punish any mistakes or anything from their experience. Meath made some mistakes there and they paid the cost. Certainly the goal that came there, it was a terrible misunderstanding between the goalkeeper and 3 Meath defenders, where you only had 1 Kerry forward, and that's what I meant by the mistakes. Here we have the ball coming in through Ogie Moran. Now,
yes, I thought as the ball came in here, Mick Lyons really was very slow to react. You see
out
him
of
getting
position. You had 2 Kerry backs, and a back should never be caught outside a forward like that. And then when the goalkeeper did call for the ball, one of the full back line should have gone back into the goal to cover for him. So that was a terrible misunderstanding, and really it was among some of the most experienced of the Meath players. And Ger Parr, no better man to avail of an opportunity like that. Now, if Meath are to win today, they have to cut out those kind of mistakes, and they have to concentrate much more than they did for at times during the first half, mark Kerry closer, because every mistake they make will be punished by this great Kerry team.
Well, now also with us up here in the box is Dublin's Brian Mullins. And Brian, it's not exactly a classic game of football, but it is good, solid stuff, tough, and it's ebbing and flowing all the time.
Compared to last week's semi-final, I think it is a good match. I think there's been a lot of patches of good football, the ball being moved around, ball being won in man-to-man situations. Meath have certainly shown at times in the first half that they have the ability to win this match, but at other times, as Enda has said, they have kind of died to let their inexperience show. They've carried the ball at times or held on to it when they shouldn't have and got themselves into trouble, and the goal came as a direct result from that. But at half-time now, I would hope that they just realise that they're within an inch of winning this match. They only have 2 points behind, and if they work hard enough, and if more of their forwards come into it, I think they can win it. But they'll have to work very, very hard. They'll have to make sure that they make no more errors in defence like they did in the first half, and they'll have to capitalise on any chances they get. But all in all, I think it's a very good match, very enjoyable, and a lot of good football being played in it.
Their temperament could be very important over the next 35 minutes.
It could be. We were a bit worried after the incident of the 3 players lying on the ground that they were going to lose the cool, and they did for a few minutes. But they came back into it very well, and I think that if they realise that they have just gather their thoughts together and come out very determined, work on their keeping the ball and using it sensibly, I think they definitely have a chance of winning.
Now, what's going on behind us, incidentally, and you can probably hear there's the long puck competition or the long kick competition. And while that's going on, to refer back to this match again, I felt that Meath, we thought going into this game, would be stronger in defence, but one or two of their defenders have not been living up to their reputations.
Certainly not, and the most experienced players appear the most shaky in that first half, and they made the mistakes. Also, the Meath forwards, they're relying nearly entirely on Colin O'Rourke to get their scores, and he cannot do it on his own. He has to get much more support from the rest of the forwards. They have to be able to attract the attention of the Kerry backs and to take the scores themselves. They're relying on him entirely. In the second half, that much must change if they're to do anything in this game. And also the Kerry are working for one another, and out of nothing or out of a mistake they can make something. So a team like that are very, very difficult to beat. But we must consider also that this isn't a young Kerry team, and in the second half I wonder will they be able to keep up the same momentum as they had in the first half. You know, they're bound to be tiring towards the end, so Meath must come at them very hard from in the beginning and try and run them off their feet. That's the chance Meath have, and also Meath would want to get a few early scores.
Now, that's the point that I might also put to Brian Mullins, as Enda was saying there. He expects Meath perhaps to keep Kerry running and tire out some of these old legs in the side.
Well, regardless of whether Kerry are going to get tired or not, I think that it's Meath's only chance is to run at them, is to play football and work them, because it's the only way that they're going to work at a rate that's going to win the match them. If they relax at all and think that Kerry are going to get tired, well, then they won't do it. Kerry will just be happy to throw the ball around, and as we saw in the last 5 or 6 minutes of the game there, they're well able to take their points when they get the half the chance. So Meath's ploy must be coming out of the second half now to get into the game, play at as high a pace as possible, move the ball as quickly as possible, and bring the game to Kerry. I think that's their only hope. Other than that, I could see Kerry winning it.
Well, they're well able to take their points. There's no doubt about that. They have the experience. Mind you, we saw earlier on in the game one characteristic misses as well under collar. Now, Mikey Sheehy let one goal chance go flying by when
correct.
he might have put it in.
That's correct. I would have said if you were to pick a player to get a goal in this situation of the whole country, it certainly would be Mikey Sheehy. But on this occasion, he was wide. Now, he did everything right when he got possession. Brought the ball right in. Through the Meath defence, but also I think that the goalkeeper must watch him here, Michael McQuillan. He came out very well and narrowed the angle, so there's really, he didn't leave Mike Sheehy much to shoot at, even though Mike kept his cool and tried to place the ball wide of him. But the goalkeeper should get a lot of praise for a save for forcing Mike in wide and to kick that one back.
Well, Mickey McQuillan, the Meath goalkeeper, has ended up looking like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer after the second clash there with his lovely red nose.
Yes, I think it's a bit demoralising to a team to see 3 defenders on the ground injured at one time, particularly when the opposing team have scored a goal. Certainly that knocked a lot out of Meath, and they have to avoid situations like that this half.
So, to wrap up then, Enda, would you give Meath a chance?
Yeah, I would give them a chance, but it looks as if Kerry are going to win it at this stage.
Right. And Brian Mullins, if I can put the same point to you?
Well, I wouldn't be prepared to make a prediction. I think the second half is going to be a test of character. Have Meath, the match is there to be won now. Meath have the ability, have they got the character? As I said before the game, Liam Hayes has played very well, and so has Jerry McEntee. Now they have to really dig deep in their reservoirs of spirit and determination. And if they do that, I think they'll win. But if not, I can see Kerry going ahead into the final.
Do you think one way or the other this could be the end of this Kerry team? We've been waiting for about 11 years now to see the end of this Kerry team. Win or lose, how many of these players can you see playing next year again?
I see them all playing again next year. As I said before the game, they give me hope. I might be even playing again next year, you know. But I think we're to wait around for them to give up and to try and beat them by getting rid of them. I think we'll all have long beards and whatnot. So no, I think that Kerry will be very upset if they're beaten today. They're going for the 3 in a row this year, and that's a great spur of them and for them. And they've plenty of reasons to want to win this match.
There's always a new incentive there, of course, Brian. And this year as well, let's not forget the incentive is the Australian tour for a lot of these players, and I know that a lot of the Kerry players are thinking and very anxious about that.
But when you're playing and when you're at the top, you want to get as much out of it as you can because you're putting a lot into it. And the Australian tour now is a once-off thing, and anybody who's around, who's in within an ass's roar of it, is putting in their best effort. So certainly, as Kevin Heffernan said earlier in the week, he might even pick a few more players after today's match. So everybody has a point to prove today. But even, I'm sure that the All-Ireland means more to them than the Australian trip. You know, Kerry, there'll be no money coming from Kerry for us players going to Australia if they don't win the All-Ireland. they'd be glad to get rid of them to Australia if they don't win the All-Ireland.
They might be banished to Australia for the tour.
Van Damon's land.
A mention of the tour to Australia, incidentally, there are still 2 places on the party that Kevin Heffernan has picked, which he picked earlier in the week. That's a panel of 38. There are still 2 places to be filled, and as Brian said, we'll probably fill them from this match today. Now, next Sunday here at Croke Park at half-2, there is a trial match. All of those 40 players, as it will be then selected, will have a trial match here. That's going to be something I can tell you to look forward to as well, Enda Colleran. It's at half-2, and it is, I think, open to the public.
Yes, that will certainly be, again, that'll be worth watching, because with the trip to Australia at stake, a month in Australia, then everybody will be giving up their best, I think. So that will certainly be a big attraction for the public who can make it to this venue to see that game on Saturday next.
However, and that's all for next Sunday. It's this Sunday that we are concentrating on and we are interested on at the moment. At half-time then, Kerry leading Meath by 2 points. Who is it going to be? Is it going to be the Kingdom, or can Meath make it to the All-Ireland final again for the first time in 16 years? Let's find out. We go back to our commentator, Ger Canning.
And there's the man who is blocking Kerry's path to goal, Mickey McQuillan, the man who is the worse for wear. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, he's been described. And I'm sure he's feeling it as well. The attendance, by the way, this afternoon, we've been handed 45,405. And in that first half, apart from stoppages for kickouts and sideline balls, there were 28 frees in all. 28 frees in 35 minutes. So it'll be Meath who'll play from right to left for the second half. Just a very, very gentle breeze behind them. The sides will start this second half as they finish the first. That means that Kerry's Willie Marr is now playing at top of the left, and Ger Parr has moved out to right half forward. So 35 minutes then between one of these teams and an All-Ireland football final place. Kerry this year bidding for a 30th All-Ireland title. Meath hoping for their 4th. This indeed is Kerry's first time to play back at Croke Park here since winning the All-Ireland final last year against Dublin. Tommy Doyle happily recovered from a first-half injury. Pat Spillane. Pat, who hasn't scored in the match so far. Terry Ferguson touched it on the ground, surely. The referee says, play away. David Beggy. Bernard Flynn. Nice ball into space towards that man, Colm O'Rourke. Seemed to be pushed off it by Mick Spillane. The referee again doesn't whistle. It's a bad pass, putting Tom Spillane, his brother, into real trouble. It came off a Meath man, however, and it's gone wide. A bit of a let-off that time. Meath might well have had a free initially, and then the rebound might well have gone just about anywhere.